Hi, this is Jeff Heaton. Okay, Google CoLab, awesome. You can run on a GPU in the cloud without setting up anything on your computer. Believe me, I just spent 2 hours recording a video on how to install Keras and TensorFlow and other things on your GPU computer. It takes a lot of effort. Google CoLab solves all that for you. But there's also Google CoLab Pro and now Pro Plus. In 2022, are these worth it? Which of them are? We're going to talk about each of them in this video. If you like Jupyter Notebooks and CoLab and you like free, you will want to check out the sponsor of this video, Weights and Biases. Google CoLab and Jupyter are great, but you'll quickly lose track of your many experiments. It's easy to integrate weights and biases into many different machine learning models. And if you see the way that it works, they're just integrating really into the existing framework. Once you have weights and biases linked in, it collects all sorts of telemetry that will then allow you to see the amazing visualizations and trackings between your experiments that it provides. Weights and biases let you track each experiment as you optimize hyperparameters, try new models, evaluate, test, and collaborate with other team members. One of my favorite features of weights and biases is the interactive reports that it can generate. These reports allow you to capture your notes, settings, and other results. And did I mention that it's all free for personal use? Well, I've already started using it myself. Go ahead, give it a try. You'll certainly be seeing some more from Weights and Biases at this channel. Let's just jump straight into Too Long Didn't Read, Too Long Didn't Watch, whatever. Here is basically what I'm looking at. This is the data that I collected. This is as of January 2022. In a nutshell, CoLab free, is it worth the money? Absolutely, it's free. You have access to a K80 GPU, which is not the fastest GPU in the world anymore, but it's better than CPU only. It can give you considerable speed up. I'll show you the relative speed ups of each of these later in this video, but it's considerable. CoLab Pro at $10 a month, absolutely is worth it. Unless the $10 a month is detrimental. I realize the continuum here is how much time do you have versus how much money you have. As you're later in your career like me, I have more money than I do time. So my ratios on these might be quite different. But what I'm looking at here is at $9.99 a month, you're getting access to the equivalent of 3 hours of a P3.2 X large on AWS, which you can see here, it's roughly equivalent. It's a V100, which you don't always get something quite that fast in, and it's $3.06 an hour. So if you use this for longer than 3 hours, it's cheaper than just buying this sort of service on the cloud outright anyway. Plus, you've got the nice CoLab interface. You don't have to develop your own low-level scripts and things to run it through. Now, when you're doing more advanced stuff, I want to run the low-level scripts and I want to develop the automation and have it there. So it's several things to consider there. CoLab Pro Plus, the new guy on the block, or gal, this, I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm going to play with it for a month, and I'm going to report back after I've kept it for a month and decide if I want to keep it or not. It's $49 a month. You need to use at least 16 hours of this thing to even break even, or you would have been better off just purchasing some time on a P3.2 X large. The background execution is really, really nice, but it gives you nothing that you can't emulate on your own. You can do little JavaScript, push the button thingies, and all sorts of Mickey Mouse kind of things to keep that running. Now, for me, I find that stuff a hassle, and being able to just click and close the browser, close my laptop, not think about it, I don't know. I might pay an extra $40 a month for that. But it just depends on what you're necessarily going for. This aspect of it I find amazing. 52 gigabytes of RAM. You have a lot of extra space you can use when you flip into that high RAM mode. You're just getting a lot of extra RAM that you have access to. Now, the standard RAM size on Pro and Pro Plus are the same. Your runtime is also the same, 24 hours. So it's basically, do you want the GUI niceness of allowing you to run for that full 24 hours. And the GUI niceness is being able to just close a laptop, forget about it, is really, really nice. The higher level access to the high-end GPUs, so the ability to get a V100 more often than a P100, that's tricky to quantify. That is a qualitative statement by Google. You get greater access. I just don't know what that means. And if I sit down and experiment with what that means, what I find this month is probably different than next month. Have any of you had any experience with which GPUs you tend to get? And do they throttle you? I have seen them throttle me before. In CoLab Pro, I will often switch back down from V100s to P100s or even to T4s if I am really, really hitting them hard. Just to give you the idea of the relative speed differences on these GPUs that they're giving you, the V100 is, so this is how long it takes to train a single tick in Stallion 2 ADA PyTorch. So the V100, which is the best that they have available to you, they're not giving you A100s yet, 566 seconds a tick. So that's the fastest. The P100, so even dropping down to that P100 hurts bad because it's almost 3 times as long. And then a T4, that's almost 2200 seconds a tick. So that shows you really what these different GPUs really mean to you in terms of getting access to them. So we'll start with CoLab Free. This is what you get if you just sign up for CoLab and you don't pay any sort of subscription fee. It's a great deal, really. You get access to a GPU and you get access to some of their computing resources at no cost. Let me run my little CoLab benchmarker. You can see that I'm running in CoLab right now. There's no Pro or anything else underneath the CO. That's how you can tell. And I am now running it. We are using a GPU environment. Because if I do change runtime type, hardware accelerator is a GPU. Background execution is not available. We'll see that later. Okay, it finished. So we've got 2 CPUs, 2 cores, 12 gigabytes of memory, not bad. The hard disk. Now this hard disk is the storage that's on this virtual machine. That goes away when you lose your instance. I like to use this for temporary files, and I copy it to and from G drive because G drive access is slow. This local hard disk is quite big. So in terms of free space, you've got about 36 gig. If you use that right, that can be very, very useful and great for certain training and data preprocessing. If you're running stuff outside of memory using disk access a lot, do not run that across the net to G drive. It'll be slow. Use it here and then convert it. Like often I'll render a whole bunch of images and then I'll pack those into a video file. Do that on local hard disk. Do not send that to G drive. Once you're done rendering your MP4 file, then sure, send it to G drive. All right, boom, we're in CoLab Pro. You can see a little Pro underneath here. This is a different email address. That's literally the only way that I can have multiples of these working. I like to always have a free version of CoLab just so that I can test and make sure that I'm not requiring people to have CoLab Pro because I'm just writing too intense of stuff, so to speak. So I'm going to open a notebook. I'm going to open my starter CoLab. I'll just run the benchmarking section first. And we're running this, and we're going to see basically it has a CPU count of 4, 25 gigs of RAM, and 43 or so gig of hard disk space. Now, notice the RAM. That was because I changed into, I was using high RAM. Only use high RAM if you really, really need it. Normally, you should use standard RAM. That way, Google doesn't throttle you as much. At least that's what they claim. I have experienced throttling before. So if you run this with a normal session, you're going to have a CPU count of 2. And you do have a Tesla P100 GPU. Now, a thing to note here too, you're going to only get server GPUs. You're not going to get like a 3090 or a 3060 or something like that. They will throttle you. If you use this extensively, like I've used CoLab Pro and I just trained it like crazy for 24 hours straight, training again, and then eventually they bumped me down to K80s or something similar. Now, the neat thing you can do with this is you can launch a terminal. So I just click this little button down here, which we didn't have before, and we have a normal Linux terminal. So you don't have to try to shoehorn everything into a Jupyter. And this part is just awesome. This way I can basically run things from the terminal and let them run. Of course, you've got the same timeouts and issues like that. But if I want to train GANs like I was doing before, rather than just doing the exclamation point, train, blah, 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 I can run it literally in a terminal, sort of like it was meant to be. So here we are, Google, take my money. And I will tell you, I have no affiliation with Google here. I am largely just working on this on my own. I like CoLab, and I am now going to try out CoLab Pro just to see what it offers. So let's look at the $49 a month. This is a bit more money. So they're going to co-rate me because I am paying for CoLab Pro. We're going to upgrade to Pro Plus. They're going to give me a discount for this, but let's go ahead and buy it. We're going to upgrade this. I am going to probably use this for about 24 hours before I record the rest of the video. And I might even do a 30-day just check-in when I'm at the end of this. Am I going to pay for this for a second month? $49 a month as far as subscription fees, that's a lot. I pay exactly the same amount to Adobe to get access to Photoshop, Premiere Pro, all the creative stuff that I use to create my YouTube channel and other things. So this is right up there with that. So we'll see. But for now, I am clicking the buy button. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. I can feel them reaching into my wallet even now. Sign up successful. So let's take a look at a job that I left running all night. So I'm going into CoLab. I could click on it because I basically know it's this one running, but let's play with it a little bit more. Let's do a new notebook. So I'm in a completely brand new notebook, and I'm going to go to runtime. And by the way, you see my little Google Pro Plus over there. I'm going to go into manage sessions, and there it's running. That has been running all night since yesterday, not 24 hours, so I haven't been killed yet. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to click on it, and you'll see that if something's not running in CoLab, you have that little yellowish, you have the gray if something is running, so that's great. It's running. I was just able to close out of it and then come right back into it. And it is really like I never left it. You can see it's still spinning. It's been training. It's been training a long, long time. It has been training. Boy, I should have done this a few hours later, but I'm pretty sure I know what that looks like. You just die. And what's going to happen then is you're going to end up with this notebook containing all the data. Well, the problem with this notebook here is it doesn't store what's on your local hard disk, so you better have been saving your results to G drive. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I want to show you some of the ramifications of what the G drive looks like, because it wasn't 100% what I was expecting. Okay, don't look at any of my super secret private data here. So this is my experiments folder. And StyleGAN automatically ups these each time. Now you can see I'm doing all this experimentation a little bit before the video comes out. That's my usual cycle. But experiment 19 is the one that is presently running. And what's going on here is you can see by the times on these, it's 10:48 local time right now. Enjoying the beginnings of my Christmas vacation. 10:05 a.m. And you can see basically from the last checkpoint, we can look at the fakes. I'm teaching it to generate circuit boards with a bunch of images of circuit boards. 1024 by 1024. So this is a decently complex training. It's doing it. This is awesome. And I do have, I'll link it in the description, but I do have another whole video on how to train GANs through this. Now here's the part that surprised me and disappointed me. So when I am training these on a computer that I physically control, like this guy with the NVIDIA A6000, or if I'm on Amazon Cloud, I am going to basically just go in this log.txt file. I'm just going to tail it and just watch it scroll by. But if we look at the log.txt file, you can see it basically stopped right when I closed the browser. So this is not being updated. Now, the reason I think this is because this file is opened and it stays open and it just streams. It's not a local file there. So what's going on, I believe, is just since it hasn't been flushed, we're just seeing it at some state earlier. But when I was first watching this, before any of my other files were written out, I thought it was dead. Thank you for watching this video. I use Google CoLab a lot on this channel. It's kind of the packaging form that I give you a lot of my code to work with, so that you can run it quickly without installing anything. So please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything else. And was this video helpful to you? Please give me a like. Thank you very much.